What is the difference between an inverse function and a reciprocal function? I find that once we've learned both, students tend to mix them up. So I'm going to look at an example here. Sine of 30 equals 1/2. So this is just a regular non-inverse sine function. Notice that the input is an angle and the output is a trig value. So what changes when I do an inverse function? So when I do inverse sine, then I get an input that is a trig value and an output that is an angle. So these two switch places. So now the output is the angle and the input is the trig value. What about a reciprocal sine function? Well, reciprocal sine is cosecant, abbreviated CSC. So I'm going to write down CSC. Now what goes into the reciprocal function is still an angle, but what comes out is the reciprocal of the trig value. So what happens is instead of saying opposite over hypotenuse, we have hypotenuse over opposite. So the reciprocal function creates a reciprocal trig value. Now what students tend to mix up is they see this -1 exponent here, or thinking of it as an exponent, and they think, oh, remember that 2 to the -1 power equals 1/2. Okay, so this is for a number. So for a number it means the reciprocal, but this is a function, and for a function it means inverse. So when we see this symbol here for a function, it means inverse. For a number, this means reciprocal. So that's the confusion that people have. And so remember that we do not take the reciprocal of 1/2 when we do the inverse function for any trig value. We don't take the reciprocal of the trig value. We just switch the trig value and the angle. So this is not the way I want you to think when you see the inverse symbol right here.